Welcome to the Midnight Vigil, the channel where the stars are always right and there really is a monster hiding underneath your bed. So, I'm going to be reviewing the new horror game Agony. As usual, for most of the content that I do, I will briefly talk about the history of the game. I will give my impressions on it, and we'll close overall with the legacy of the game. So, for its history, most of you know that this was a Kickstarted project. It ended up raising about 3 times its budget. The Kickstarter was done in December of 2016, and the game was supposed to come out in March of this year, but it was delayed. I think it was likely delayed for classification problems, which ended up leading to non parity between the console versions and the PC. Apparently, several seconds of brutal sex was cut at the ending of the game, and I've seen I've seen the cut version of this scene, and it's really tame and it's really boring. Why bother with making console releases if this is already going to be a super niche game to begin with, and you're going to end up annoying the target audience on PC who wanted to get the game that was advertised, and they're not going to get it because to go for a bigger market, you are chasing console gamers. Like, I don't have a problem. I play mostly on PC. I have consoles. I don't have a problem with games going multi platform. But PC games already have censored patches that you can download, which is what they announced to do, which is what the devs announced they were going to do. But these shadowy legal issues popped up and prevented them from doing that. So before launch, they announced that they were going to have this censored content patch on PC only, and then on launch day, suddenly that was no longer in the plans. What's kind of sad is that Agony isn't going to change anyone's mind about kickstarted games. For every Divinity or Pillars of Eternity, there's going to be a Mighty Number 9, a Ukulele, and now we can definitively add Agony to the list of failures, in my opinion. So, my impressions, I hate it. The gameplay is frustrating, where the game doesn't explain mechanics properly or it doesn't tell you where you need to be going in game. Usually, good level design can work around the common sense of a player, and you can be directed to where you really need to be going. But in this game, you just sort of wander around. They have this mechanic. It's sort of Dead Space like. It's an ability where you press a key, and like butterflies come out of your hand or something, and they show you where to go in the environment. But the problem is, in the normal version of the game, it has limited uses, so you can only do it so many times. You can turn this off in the settings, thankfully. Save points are too far apart, and since enemies can kill you in one hit, you can lose a lot of progress really quickly. Checkpoints can also be destroyed if you die 3 times before activating another one, but you can also turn this off in the settings as well. The AI is terrible and will often get stuck in narrow corridors or walkways where there's no way to get around them, and their like searching pattern is unpredictable, and like in other stealth games, you can predict where the AI is going to go because they have to be predictable for you to be able to get around them and go undetected. But in this game, they just wander around. It's totally unpredictable, and it makes the stealth garbage. The core gameplay loop, you have to find hearts and sigils to unlock doors. This isn't fun or engaging, and it just makes the game boring and a slog to play through. I recently played through Hellblade, where you also had to find sigils in the environment, and it's just done so much better in that game. I felt more engaged in Hellblade because I felt like they were cleverly hidden, and here you're given like 50 sigils in rooms, and you just have to do this trial or error thing until you get the right one to open the door. It's horrible. The stealth is poorly implemented since there's a stamina bar that is attached to running, jumping, and holding your breath. There's no real combat, so you have to sneak by everything. The environments on first inspection look gory and brutal, but they just bore you as the game goes on. In other horror games, the hellish environments are the backdrop to the story or characters, and this game has neither of those. You're supposed to be getting out of hell, but the story is an unintelligible mess, and the main character never talks or communicates what he's going through. You can find notes spread out in the environment, but they're really random, and I couldn't make sense of the lore or what kind of story they were trying to build to. And the exploration is just so bad. You have no idea where you're going. All the environments look the same. I just ended up you don't care about these notes. I just want to get through the level. I want to get through this game. I just gave up totally looking for them. The possession mechanic, one of the unique things about the game, is horrible. So when you leave your body, you get killed and you leave your body and you can go possess other characters, other NPCs, and eventually demons later on. But if you float too high in the air, you'll just freeze in place and you have to restart the checkpoint. You can't possess other humans unless you've taken the hoods off of their faces, but to get to them, you'd have to put yourself in danger. Or, as I found out myself the hard way, if you haven't taken the hoods off of any of them, or you run out of people to possess, you have to restart the checkpoint and do it all over again. And what's even weirder is when you possess the demons, there's like a countdown timer, like the hero timer in the Star Wars Battlefront games, and you have to kill enemies, you have to kill NPCs to keep the timer going and refresh it. But the problem is, the demon characters can't use sigils, they can't open doors, they can't interact with the environment. So you are required to kill the people you have to possess to become a human to go further into the game. It doesn't make any sense. Who thought that was a good mechanic in this game? I'm blown away by this choice. I'm blown away by this whole game. I ended up getting stuck on the geometry of the environment multiple times, which is unhelpful when you're being chased and you get stuck on a wall and you die. You know, frankly, for something that was sold on its taboo and deviant content, what was the point of advertising all of this if it was just going to be censored out anyways? You can see floppy penises and balls on all of the male NPCs, but the female nudity is not equivalent, which is strange because early concept art and demos had more graphic things in them. So I just don't understand. Why would we choose penises over female genitalia? Why would one be okay, but they're both not okay? The game is frankly so dark, I had to turn the gamma up multiple times to see where I was going, and it just made the game look washed out. Some environments look fine, but the textures are all over the place, and many looked blurry. The NPCs are beyond hideous. They're like vanilla Skyrim and Fallout 3 hideous. There's like 3 faces that they all have. They're all unbelievably ugly to look at. They all have the same horrible voice actors. They all say the same one line over and over and over again. There's very little variety in the NPCs. There's no variety in the gameplay. The environments are all boring. They look similar. There's no variety at all. Where it counts, this game just doesn't have it. It's boring. It isn't fun. It isn't scary. It's just a frustrating mess of a game. It doesn't even succeed at being risque or taboo either. It's frankly a hard pass from me. Now for the conclusion, where I'm going to talk a little bit about the legacy. It's pretty early, but its legacy seems bad already. It's getting poor reviews across the board, with mixed reviews so far on Steam, about 51% positive, 49% negative, but I'm honestly expecting that to change. Kickstarter backers are furious because many haven't even gotten their keys yet, and some who paid to have their names in the credits sequence didn't receive this thing that they paid for. Their names aren't in the credits. Much of the discussion online has to do with the censorship and how the devs promised a cut content patch and then on launch decided they weren't going to bother. So they've advertised this game and it came out and it's not in the state that it was promised. What's so bizarre about this whole thing is The devs had this contest where one person would win an Agony Uncensored box, which is this set containing the sole copy of the uncensored game. What the hell is the point of this? If there were legal issues preventing the censored content from appearing in the game, how can an uncensored copy exist? Wouldn't that open the devs up to legal issues again? Just release the cut content, for God's sake. It's telling that they sold this game on deviant sexual content and material, and the game doesn't have that in there. And now the main discussion of the game isn't the game itself and how poor it is, but rather the cut content and the misleading lies, all of the things that the devs have done to sort of get around how they've advertised this game and they haven't delivered on it. I mean, that's what's really important here. You promise something and you fail to deliver the goods. In short, stay away from Agony. I can't even recommend this broken mess of a game on a deep sale. It's that bad. It's that frustrating. Honestly, Agony is not just the worst game of the year. It's far and away worse than Metal Gear Survive, which is at least a functional game. It's, quite frankly, one of the worst horror games I have ever played. It blows me away that this was released in this state. I don't understand how playtesters or Q&A would have let all of these decisions stay in the game, because it's so obviously not fun. It's frustrating. It's a confusing mess of a game. The gameplay doesn't make sense. You don't know where to go. It's so dark. The story is just garbage. You know, they say that it has 12 hours of content and 7 endings. Well, I'll be damned. I won't be seeing any of them. I put in 8 hours of this game, and I can't bear to play it anymore. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe, and if you have a Twitter, you can follow me at Midnight Vigil. Thanks, guys, and I will see you next time, where hopefully the next game that I'll be reviewing will be something that I actually like. It really depressed me how much I didn't like this game because I had been waiting for it for years, and it's extremely uncommon for me to review something or talk about it when I haven't even beaten it. But 8 hours out of the 12 hours of promised content, the game just feels too long. I wasn't having any fun. I'm sure I'm never going to play this game ever again. It was a total waste of my time, and I'm really unhappy. I requested a refund, but was denied because obviously I had too much playtime, which is fine with Valve, but you know, the beginning of this game starts off okay, and then it just keeps getting worse and worse. But thanks, guys. I will see you next video.